elemental energy, and born submissives. This piece is a work in progress, but I want to give insight to men who feel that they are submissive born, but also keep in mind, I am one Domina with a very distinct philosophy. So this is just to orientate you, get you to think about things, but remember, every Domina is different. So this is purely my perspective based on my own desires, knowledge, and personal experiences. You're listening to the Mistress Code. I'm RacyWilde. A lot of born submissives have wondered why, or have even been frustrated as to why I'm not interested in them. Now, I'm using born submissives to describe the people who feel that submission is a personality trait. It is who they are, how they were born, natural submissives. From my experience, I find women who have chosen femdom later in life are the ones who prefer born submissives. I don't know why, but that's just what I've experienced. As a born dominant woman, I find most born submissives think they are my type. No, they become very confused at this, almost insulted, to find out they are not. As a born dominant woman, I am more interested in people who do not have a submissive personality, who are not natural submissives. Why? Because born subs do not activate my dominant desires. They are already subby and prepared to submit. So when they are an overzealous participant, there is no need to dominate them. They will already do what I want without domination. Domination is about winning the battle between two conflicting wills. I am interested in people who activate my dominance. There is something about them that makes me desire them, and that it factor is different in each person. There is an idea out there that a femdom's power to dominate is generated within herself. Yes and no. When we are talking about DS dynamic, it takes two. A femdom's desire is often activated because of the dynamic. This is why it is called power dynamic. I always show my subs how to activate my dominance. Sometimes I need them to activate it to get me in the mood because sometimes I've had a rough day and my energy needs to be refocused. But a femdom can also have that horny power feeling on her own, where she will dominate without dynamic. And this is what I see a lot at play parties and clubs. The atmosphere gets her in the mood. Domina can dominate for the gratification of themselves and aren't necessarily interested in dynamics, which, yes, you would be right in saying that then they aren't a domina but a dominatrix. But that's another complicated podcast. This is why single subs get confused about the hot and cold treatment. During the party, single play subs feel her dominance and her desire for them, but then outside the party, she is not interested in them at all. Her desire wasn't actually for them, but for the acts she was doing. The sub was just a tool so she could experience the acts. Femdoms can have relationships to acts, such as flogging and pegging, that have nothing to do with the submissive. It means they will flog and peg anyone because it is not the person, but the act she is interested in. Sounds familiar? This is what vanilla men do in the hookup culture. They are more interested in experiences to check off their bucket list, treating women as objects, than having meaningful connections with them. This is not wrong, only taboo. and femdom tend to act in the same way. It is the experience of flogging, not meaningful connections, that they are interested in. So, once you portray yourself as a play sub for parties, you are actually setting yourself up as a play object, not a sub for a dynamic. You're making yourself play zoned, meaning you are good for one-off plays at events, but not for a dynamic outside an event. But back to born submissives. Do you consistently find yourself typecast as a play sub or service sub, and you don't seem to be getting the sex slave or the dynamic sub opportunities? Well, from my observation, the subs that are compliant to anything, who are begging, are not as valued, and therefore they are put into positions of service to make use of them, while the femdom looks elsewhere for her perfect sub. There are two reasons for this. If a femdom is a casual player, a monogamous heterosexual, and looking for a life partner, which a lot are, she is primarily looking for a man who is masculine and dominant in their vanilla life, who will submit to her sometimes in private and at events. This does not match the born submissive profile, so such is out of her demographic for potential dynamic subs. The second reason, you are approaching the wrong type of domina for your energy. The hyper-dominant energy domina often clash with meek and lowly born submissives. It's like putting an extrovert with an introvert. Sure, I've seen The Odd Couple TV series too, and such can work in a chaotic way, but for a long-term arrangement, it's often not viable. I'm not into brats. Well, they aren't into me because my punishment strikes out any of their bratty desires, but I do like fiery subs. They attract me because I'm a fiery domina. They are subs that are curious and clever and make me have to stay on the ball of my feet. A lot of born subs I know are more water and air subs and are too easy and accommodating. I could make them sit in the corner to hold a pot plant and forget about them the whole day. But with a fiery sub, they will turn on my dominance just from me walking past them. I can feel their energy, and it would be hell for me to leave them alone. Fire attracts fire. From what I see, natural-born submissives are better suited for lower power energy dynamics. Such that is with female-led relationships and gentle femdoms and even mommies, generally for nurturing domination. Such subs don't tend to suit my fiery domination or dynamics, but are more suited to the consistency and stability and the offer of longevity that female-led relationships and gentle femdoms provide. So yes, there is a type of astrology to sub and dom compatibility. I'm not saying there aren't anomalies, and I have certainly chosen people of the opposite energy to me, but generally speaking, you want to find a domina of your dynamic energy, fire, water, earth, air, so your dynamic can flow easily. Now note, I'm using astrology terms here because everyone generally knows it and understands the elements, but perhaps there should be another way of describing it. I don't know. Maybe one day I will come up with it.